We're back for another episode and another deep dive. Let's get ready.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. You ready to explore something new?
Always. I love learning new things.
Well, today we're going to be talking about influencer marketing.
Ooh, that's a hot topic.
It is. And specifically, we're looking at how to boost your SOI through influencer marketing. SOI, that's sphere of influence, in case you didn't know.
Yeah.
The network of people who know, like, and trust you or your brand.
And it's so important these days, especially with the marketing landscape changing so much.
Yeah.
Like, think about everything that's happened just since 2020.
Oh, yeah. The world went digital practically overnight. Everyone was forced to adapt to this new online world.
Exactly. And I think that's really shifted the balance of power. You know, it used to be that brands could just kind of shout their message from the rooftops and people would listen. But now consumers are in control. They get to choose what they see and what they engage with.
It's true. They have all the power now.
And brands are having to get really creative to cut through the noise.
Especially with things like ad blockers.
Yeah.
I mean, nearly half of consumers in Germany are using ad blockers these days.
That's a huge number. It's a clear sign that people are tired of being bombarded with ads.
They're looking for something more authentic, more genuine.
Right, and that's where influencer marketing comes in, because it's not just about selling a product, it's about building relationships and connecting with people on a personal level.
So it's about tapping into that pre-existing trust and credibility that influencers have built with their audience.
Exactly. It's like the digital version of word-of-mouth marketing.
Interesting. Okay, so let's talk about Gen Z for a second. They've grown up in this digital world. They're practically glued to their phones.
They are, and social media isn't just a source of entertainment for them. It's where they get their news, their inspiration, their style tips. They're looking to influencers as role models.
So they're mimicking the behavior and routines of their favorite influencers.
Absolutely. They want to know what products they use, what clothes they wear, where they travel. It's like they're trying to emulate their entire lifestyle.
And it's not just Gen Z either, right? I mean, older generations are starting to catch on to this whole influencer thing as well.
Definitely, social media has become this massive melting pot where people of all ages are looking to influencers for guidance and inspiration.
It's like everyone's trying to keep up with the Joneses, but the Joneses are now these online personalities with millions of followers.
And there's actually a psychological theory behind this. It's called social learning theory.
Oh, I've heard of that.
It basically says that we learn by observing others, particularly in social contexts. So when we see someone we admire doing something, whether it's using a certain product or wearing a certain outfit, we're more likely to want to do it too.
So in the online world, those others are the influencers.
Exactly. And that's why influencer marketing can be so effective, because it taps into this innate human desire to learn from and emulate those we admire.
So by partnering with influencers, brands are essentially getting a fast pass to a pre-built network of trust and credibility.
That's one way to put it.
It's like skipping the line at a nightclub.
I like that analogy.
So brands are basically saying, hey, we know you already trust this person, so you can trust us too.
And it makes sense, because people are more likely to listen to a recommendation from someone they know and like than they are to a faceless corporation.
It's like the difference between getting a book recommendation from a friend versus seeing an ad for it in a magazine.
Exactly. The personal touch makes all the difference. And that's something that traditional advertising just can't replicate.
It's that human connection.
Exactly. And that's why influencer marketing is such a powerful tool for building relationships and driving sales.
Especially in today's digital world where consumers are bombarded with messages from every direction.
They need something to cut through the clutter, and influencer marketing can be that something.
So it's not just a fad. It's a fundamental shift in the way we communicate and connect with each other.
I think so. It's here to stay.
But okay, let's be real here. People don't just see one influencer post and then bam, they're ready to buy the product, right?
No, of course not. It's a journey.
Right, there's a whole process involved.
It's what we call in marketing the multi-touchpoint journey. Consumers need to engage with the brand or product multiple times before they're ready to make that purchase.
Okay, so that makes sense. It's not just a one and done kind of thing.
Not at all. And that's where things get really interesting, because that's where we can talk about performance-based influencer marketing.
Ooh, performance-based. Now that sounds intriguing. Tell me more.
So it's this strategy where we combine the awesome creative content that influencers are making with the power of paid advertising.
Oh, so you're like amplifying their reach.
Exactly. So picture this. The influencer becomes a content creator. They're crafting these native ads that blend seamlessly into their feed.
So it doesn't feel like a blatant ad.
Right.
Yeah.
It feels more organic, like a natural recommendation from a friend or someone you trust.
Which makes people way more likely to actually pay attention to it.
For sure. Because it's coming from a trusted source. It leads to higher engagement, more clicks, and ultimately, you guessed it, more conversions.
Okay, so you're leveraging the influencer's credibility and then boosting it through targeted advertising. I like it. It's a smart strategy.
It is. And the best part is we can use data analytics to figure out which influencer content is performing best.
Oh, so you can really fine-tune it.
Yeah, we can pinpoint what's working and then double down on that by turning it into paid ads that target specific demographics.
So you're making sure the right people are seeing the right message. That's pretty powerful stuff.
It is. It's all about maximizing impact, but, nothing's perfect. There are some challenges that come with influencer marketing, too.
Oh, yeah, I was just thinking that. It sounds almost too good to be true. What are some of the potential downsides?
Okay, well, one of the biggest things is making sure there's real alignment between the influencer and the brand.
Because if it feels forced or fake,
Yeah.
people can tell right away.
Absolutely. Authenticity is key. If an influencer is just going through the motions and doesn't actually believe in the product they're promoting, it's going to show. And that can backfire big time.
Yeah, I've seen those partnerships where it's so obvious that the influencer's just in it for the money. It's cringeworthy.
It is. Consumers can smell a fake endorsement a mile away. So brands really need to do their research. Find influencers who genuinely align with their values, their content style, their target audience.
So it's not just about going after the influencer with the biggest following. It's about finding the right fit.
Exactly. It's about quality over quantity. You want an influencer who truly resonates with your brand and can authentically connect with your audience.
That makes sense. So what other challenges should marketers be aware of?
Another big one is measuring the ROI of these campaigns. It's still a bit of a Wild West out there.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's hard enough to measure the ROI of traditional marketing, let alone something as nuanced as influencer marketing.
It's a valid concern. You want to make sure you're getting a good return on your investment. But don't let that scare you away from experimenting with it. With the right approach and careful planning, it can be incredibly effective.
So ROI measurement is a challenge, but not a deal breaker. Got it. Anything else we should be considering?
Well, there's this interesting trend emerging called corporate influencers. Have you heard of this?
Corporate influencers? Not really. Tell me more.
So these are individuals who are directly tied to a company, and they're actively using platforms like LinkedIn to build relationships and achieve business goals.
So they're like in-house influencers.
Exactly. And we're seeing this more and more, especially in the B2B world. It's a way to build trust and thought leadership in a more organic way.
Interesting. I like that. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We talked about the multi-touchpoint journey, performance-based influencer, marketing, the importance of authenticity, and even this new concept of corporate influencers. It's a lot to digest.
It is. It just shows you how dynamic and exciting the world of marketing is these days.
Absolutely. All right, so let's bring it all home. What are the key takeaways our listeners should be walking away with today? So what's the TLDR version? What's the big takeaway here?
The big takeaway is this traditional advertising. It's struggling in the digital age.
Yeah, consumers are tuning out. They're not paying attention anymore.
Right. And marketers, they need to find these fresh, engaging ways to connect with their audience.
It's all about authenticity these days, right?
Yeah.
Being genuine.
Absolutely. People can spot a fake a mile away.
So how does influencer marketing help with all of this?
Well, it offers a really powerful alternative. It harnesses that trust and authenticity that we were just talking about, and it uses the dynamics of social learning to actually drive those conversions.
It's like we're speaking a different language now.
Yeah.
The language of real connections and real life value.
Exactly. It's not about interrupting people's lives with these annoying ads anymore. It's about becoming a part of their lives in a way that actually means something.
It's about being invited to the party, not crashing it.
I like that. And influencer marketing does just that. It lets brands tap into these existing communities and conversations that are already happening.
So they're leveraging the trust that influencers have already built with their audience.
Right. It's not just about pushing a product. It's about building those relationships and adding value to people's lives.
Okay, so influencer marketing, it's not a perfect solution, but it has the potential to be really effective.
Oh, absolutely. It holds enormous potential for any brand that's looking to grow their SOI and drive sales.
All right, so to wrap things up, I have one final question for our listeners to ponder.
Okay, hit me.
We talked earlier about how almost half of German consumers are actively blocking ads. What does that tell you about the future of marketing?
That's a great question. It really highlights this crucial turning point that we're at right now in the marketing world.
Like things are changing and they're changing fast.
Exactly. And those brands that are clinging to these outdated methods, they risk being left behind.
It's adapt or die.
Pretty much. It's time to evolve and embrace these new approaches, like influencer marketing.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
A huge thank you to our expert for breaking all of this down for us today. It's been a fascinating conversation.
It really has. My pleasure.
And to all our listeners out there, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of influencer marketing.
Keep those marketing minds sharp.
Until next time, stay curious.
That's it for this episode. If you've enjoyed today's deep dive, don't forget to hit the follow or subscribe button. Until the next episode, keep innovating, keep growing, and keep marketing deeply.